Welcome to Franchise Sports Media's FSM, the show. I'm Joe Arrigo. With me tonight is our newest writer for FSM. He's a man of many talents, radio, writing, and quite frankly, probably somebody that knows my family, his family, my family, probably go back generations and we just finding out about it. Richard Decristan. What's going on, Richie?
How you doing, Joe? I am so excited to be on here. This is awesome. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Opening day, baby. That's what it's about. Major League Baseball kicks off their season after. Well, they're not going to play 102 games this year. We're going to play 60, but it's a good thing because at least we're getting ball at this point. I don't have to sit and play the show all day long and just kind of hope and pray that baseball comes. I can actually watch it now and get the calluses off of my thumbs.
I feel you there. I've been doing that with 2K, just playing 2K nonstop just to have some sports. But see, to me, it's not opening day tomorrow. It is, in fact, Christmas Day tomorrow. Because
it feels like Christmas Eve.
I mean, especially for me being a Yankees fan, we get that brand new ace in the hole, as you would say it, with Garrett Cole. The train's coming to New York. It's making a stop at 161st Street.
Man, it was crazy is everybody knows I'm a SoCal guy. I grew up in SoCal. And I grew up a Yankees fan. I remember the 80s with Donnie Baseball, Willie Randolph, Ricky Henderson, Dave Winfield, Guidry. I mean, Kevin Moss. I mean, like, I can go to some real shitty teams. And then and it's all because I grew up, playing on a team, the Yankees. My grandfather was from New York. Like you and your family, and they always said, "Oh, you're Italian in New York. You get to be on the Yankees. You have the team, the Yankees." So I just like, the history of the team is means so much to me, right? And then they got good in the '90s, but Eric Davis growing up was my favorite player. So when ED got traded to the Dodgers back in in the end of '91, beginning of '92, right around that time, or maybe it's like. Yeah, it was 91 when he got traded. Growing up in LA, you always watch the Dodgers. Growing up in Southern California, it's like I hated the Angels, so I'm just gonna watch the Dodgers. So as soon as Eric Davis went there, I'm like, I'm a Dodger fan from this point going forward. I have a reason to like them. So growing up, I became a Yankees and a Dodgers fan. So I have two teams with rich histories that I root for that this year are the co-odds-on favorites to win the World Series. I would be ecstatic to see a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, but just like you, I'm beyond hyped to see Garrett Cole put his toe on a slab tomorrow, and really seeing Gleyber Torres and to see if the Kraken Gary Sanchez can get things going. Aaron Judge is finally healthy. It looks like Giancarlo Stanton's looking right. And on the flip side, and we'll get to the Yankees Nationals in a minute because they're playing the World Series champions. But the big news happened on Wednesday when Mookie Betts, who got his prison sentence overturned and got shipped out of Boston and came home to Los Angeles, the West Side, baby, he signed a brand new deal with the Dodgers. I mean, he's here until he's 39 years old to 2032, I believe.
He said he's going to retire there.
He did.
In a press conference today.
And that's the thing that I love about it. I mean, the whole deal with Mookie and it's one of those deals where, 12 years, $365 million, 65 mil or 380. Is it 65 or 85? I think it's 60, 380. That's what it is. You're right. I'm pulling up my own article that we just dropped today because quite frankly, I was trying to go off the top of my head. But for him to get that money and become the highest paid player in baseball history with $65 million, that is a signing bonus, which is non-taxable because he's a non-California resident.
And that's great.
It is. And Ken Rosenthal reported this, and we'll get in. I want to get your thoughts. The next 2 years, he's got a relatively low salary of $17.5 million for 2021 and 2022. And in part because he got that $65 million guaranteed. How do you think this changes the landscape of baseball And what do you think this does to the shift of power in the National League? Even though the Dodgers are probably and have probably we're going to continue to be the team to beat. But do you think this changes anything?
I think in the National League, absolutely. You're making the Dodgers a more powerful team with a unbelievable. Their farm system is phenomenal. Even with having to trade some guys for the Betts and Price, which I think everybody forgets that they got him in that deal.
Yeah, but he's not playing this year.
No, and he's, to me, I actually did on my show, I did a thing about a year ago where David Price came out and said something about they should trade them. And I thought it was a great idea. One, get them out of our division, but two, also the fact of those guys are young and the Red Sox should rebuild off of it, which now these young guys come up. You pair Betts with Bellinger, Bueller. I mean, the pitching staff that they have, the bats they have, they are the team in the National League. Not that they weren't, but now that it just solidifies them. It's like, the Yankees and the Astros now taking Cole away and having all those other guys healthy. You got to lean towards the Yankees now.
No doubt. And I think with the Dodgers, what I look at is, as a pitcher, this, like if you don't have your ace stuff, you can get by the first, maybe you try to get by the first 4 or 5 hitters. You get to sometimes 6, but 7, 8, 9, those are, you pretty much can handle business, so to speak.
And the hardest part of that is running your pitch count up too, though. Exactly.
That's true. But with the Dodgers, you don't have an easy out 1 through 8. Well, now 1 through 9 with the DH in the National League.
Absolutely not. There's not an easy out in that lineup.
So
Turner.
Yeah, you can have Bellinger that's going to play center, but play some first base. You'll have Muncy that's going to play some first, second, and DH. Little Turner, third and DH. Seager looks like, he's going the other way and looks healthy, which I think him and Bellinger both, they both changed their swings a little bit. And I think you're going to see them less pull happy and more taking what pitchers are giving them and really, take the ball to left field. Kiki Hernandez and Chris Taylor, platooning at second base until Gavin Lux gets everything in order on his end. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Chavez Ravine, like he's there, and there's no entanglement with him. I mean, he's going out there and just crushing the ball. I mean, then you got AJ Pollock, who, I mean, if you're a Dodger fan, you're kind of like, why the hell is this guy on the team? And Jock Peterson, who's going to get some DH time in a contract year, and he's absolutely crushing the ball right now. So,
and he's very underrated.
9, the Dodgers are loaded. See, I'm not a big Jock guy. I actually was kind of glad that he was going to get shipped to the Angels. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it just seems to me his attitude is kind of so nonchalant and like, fuck it. That's kind of like the attitude I get from him. But the teammates love him. But I don't like the lack of hustle. There's things that he does, quite honestly, Rich, that just puts me in a position where I just like get rid of this dude.
I felt that way about Machado with his running and thinking he was too good, and Jock thinks he's there already. I could definitely see that, what you're talking about, for sure. The other thing I think people forget too is, besides the fact of how great Mookie Betts is at baseball and bowling and everything else, the man can play almost any position on the field. Legitimately.
He was drafted as a shortstop out of Tennessee before, he came out of high school in Tennessee, and he was.
I watched him play second base with the Red Sox. I think it was not last year, maybe the year before. And you would have thought Roberto Alomar was back there. I mean, he was phenomenal.
That's where he was. Okay, so he came up. He actually was supposed to go to Vanderbilt, and him and Tony Kemp. They had Tony Kemp playing there, and they played against each other in high school. And that's why he shifted his commitment to Tennessee, became a 5th-round pick, and he ends up, shifting to second base with the Red Sox. But they have Pedroia there, and he's not going to take Pedroia's spot. And they had Xander Bogaerts and other guys, so but he was just hitting the seams off the ball, so they put him in the outfield, and he's a Gold Glove. He's the best right fielder in baseball, And you can I could make the argument, and let's get into this a little bit. I could make the argument that Mookie Betts is the best player in baseball over Mike Trout.
I actually, funny enough, had said that last year to somebody when Trout signed his contract. I said Mookie's is going to be higher because he's he's arguably better. It's the, vanilla or chocolate at this point. I mean, really, that's,
That's kind of a.
You got 2 5-tool players there. You got 2 5-tool players. These guys can do everything.
Absolutely. I think what separates Mookie from me is he's done it in October and in the postseason. Like,
yes,
I
want to see Trout in the postseason. I want to see him be the clutch guy we think he is. And I mean, we're arguably watching right now one of the greatest baseball players ever in Mike Trout and Mookie Betts.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't think he gets there with the Angels.
Absolutely not.
I have no faith in Artie Moreno as an owner. I have no faith in. I mean, I like the GM Epler. I mean, he came from the Yankees. He did a great job with Cashman, building and whatnot. But
Mike Trout doesn't have that Mamba mentality as we like. He does not, and I also he is or should be the face of baseball, and they pushed Judge and everybody else, Yelich, Bellinger, anybody they could get their hands on, Lindor. Mike Trout is the LeBron James of baseball, and they're not. He doesn't want to be the face of baseball. He doesn't want to talk in front of the cameras. He doesn't want the big endorsement deals, the commercials. He's not that guy. He wants to go out there and club the ball with that half swing and Mac and
go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Go home.
Collect his ridiculous paycheck.
I would love to have that paycheck, quite frankly. Now,
just one.
Yeah, just give me one. Just one game check. That's it. One game check. Not even but not the prorated one, because Mookie's supposed to make 27.5 this year. He's only getting 10 million this year for 60 games.
And that's a lot more than a lot of other players that would be getting if they were getting their full salaries.
No doubt. So when talking about Mookie, first of all, were you surprised that he got the $365 million for 12 years? Were you surprised that $65 million was a signing bonus without a no trade clause? No opt-outs. Albeit $115 million is deferred out of the 365. There are deferrals in subsequent years that will be converted into present day dollars, creating greater financial value if he's traded. Were you surprised that this deal came about when it came about? And let's talk about how you found out about the deal at 7:00 this morning.
I had a text message at 7:00 this morning that told me about the deal, and I was very skeptical at first and surprised all at the same time when it happened. It was pretty awesome. And no, I'm not surprised he got the deal. And I think it's funny that they waited till now to do it. They wanted to make a statement and get the fans excited and get the people like, we're really making a run at it, because that's what you need. But no, the $65 million, it makes sense. The guy deserves the money, and everything he's done on the field has been top notch and off the field. I mean, the guy's no off the field problems. He's not a guy you got to worry about. He hasn't had super serious injuries. I mean, he's had a couple little bugs here and there, but nothing crazy. I mean, you can go look at a lot of other guys that are getting paid these big contracts, and a lot of them are injury prone. A lot of them have dealt with big injuries.
That's true. And so when I got the news at like 6:50 something, my phone goes off, right? And I'm sitting here and my girl's laying next to me, and I open my eyes and she's like, something happened. Now me, in the last month of my life, I'm like, God, I can't handle anything else right now. And I look and I'm like, oh, I see who it's from. And I said, oh. And then he was like, locking up Mookie today. And I was like, what? Ironically, I was talking to one of my best friends the last couple of days, Joe Pacheco, who did a show with me for years and was a long time Fresno radio host out here and producer. And he had just said to me tonight, like, and in a text 2 nights ago, I really hope the Dodgers lock up Mookie Betts. They can't let him walk after giving up prospects and Verdugo. Like, it would really suck. And I'm like, dude, they're going to get it done at some point. So I get the text, and I text about 4 people. After I get back, when I text you, and you got the same text as Josh, who is our baseball writer, Pacheco, and TQ. And then a guy I played with who is my roommate in Vegas.
That honestly was top 3 on my text messages too, like all time, by the way.
Really? Well, what's funny was you text me back after I gave you the years and the dollar amount. You text me back and was like, "Good job, boss." Like,
yeah. Well, because that's what I said. I was like, all right, if it's happening, it's happening. He gets the numbers down right. I'm going to be really, really surprised. And I saw that. And I was like, I was driving. I pull over for a second, send you a message. I was like, I'm not going to let this sit for a while. And the funny part is when you told me, I was probably refreshing Instagram and SportsCenter and ESPN every 15 seconds. Like, come on.
My girl literally was like, can you text out off of where we're sleeping? Because I'm feeling the bed shake. Because it's like, bing, bing.
Sound like a stenographer.
Dude, I felt like I was a drug dealer. As my trap phone going off, it's just nonstop, and I'm like, what the hell? And this is the norm. Yeah, for real. But this is the norm for me during certain times of the year. I think we had talked about that off air.
Yep.
So when I got it, I was like, damn, like I wasn't surprised that it got done. I was surprised that when it got done, because my thought was with COVID-19 hitting, his market could have been really, really slow to develop in free agency because of the financial impact teams would have, because with no fans or very limited fans coming to stadiums. On the flip side, I thought that if anybody was going to get it, it would be Mookie, only because not only is he a superstar and a generational talent, he's a safe talent.
Absolutely.
And I want to go to what Justin Turner said in an interview with Ken Gernlich from he's on MLB.com now, covered the Dodgers for years. He told him during spring training that the Dodgers had a team meeting regarding the cheating scandals of the Astros and Red Sox, which it could have essentially cost the Dodgers a World Series or 2. And Mookie stood up and gave a speech. And this is from Justin Turner. He said, quote, "When you stand up in front of a team on the first day and essentially call everyone out, says he wants to hold everyone accountable for their effort, not just in the game, but in the workouts. That's like, all right, you learn what he's about really fast. It's the same principle as Kirk Gibson's speech, just not critical of us. This was him saying this before he knew anybody. Just signs of leadership. It jumps out at you." Like, end quote. Now, to me, that is what you want in a leader. You want to have a guy that's going to step up and say something and kind of like really throw himself on the table, lay him out there, and was like, hey, my balls are out. I'm fully exposed. Let's get after this and be exposed together. Because the only way we're going to win this thing.
You're either leader you follow, and he came in there knowing, hey, you guys might be a really good team. I got the ring, though. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to tell you guys what's up.
And that's something that the Dodgers have lacked with their team is leadership. Kershaw's a great leader, a great player in the regular season. Postseason numbers and performances really is lacked. When you look at Justin Turner, he's done, he's phenomenal. He does a lot of great things. Bellinger didn't show up in the postseason, the last few years. So to have someone like Betts come in there and say, you know what, you're going to get on my back, it shows a lot. And really, it also shows, the type of person he is with who he's endorsed by. I mean, he's one of only 10 players in major leagues that's endorsed by Jordan Brand. He also has body armor and Axe bats. And, he said he really, Mookie said that, he really wanted to be a part of Jordan Brand, and it's a separate entity than Nike, and he wanted to be part of a select group. And to get that contract, it didn't necessarily mean that you're elite, but he being Michael Jordan thinks something of you, and that's kind of cool to know for sure. So for Mookie to understand these things, and he's so humble. I sit back and I'm like, how can you not like this guy? Like, I hate the Red Sox. I'm full disclosure. If you're a Red Sox fan, you're probably going to hate me. And I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that because there's nothing about Boston that I like.
You're preaching to the choir, buddy.
Yeah.
2 games a year I go back for the last 2 Red Sox games against the Yankees, and I hate them. And I'll be honest with you, I still would have loved to have seen the Yankees sign him. 100%.
Yeah.
Put him in center, put him in left. I don't care. But this actually goes back to what you were just talking about with the contract and COVID-19 and all that. There's 2 sides to that. What if a team like the Yankees or somebody that has a ton of money and doesn't care about the luxury tax and all that came in and offered him more and just blew everybody off the table just to have him? That could have been the flip side to that too. And he might have got more money. Because
the Mets.
I mean, the Mets could have done that easily in New York just to have something to compete with, have a star. But here's actually a question I have for you. Do you believe Mookie Betts being on the Red Sox with his now championship pedigree, with being a silver slugger, being a batting 346 2 seasons ago, all that stuff, do you believe it takes the pressure off of Bellinger, off of Kershaw, off of Turner? And do you think they're going to play better now because of that?
That's a great question. I think it takes the pressure off Andrew Friedman more than anybody. Andrew Friedman has never signed a player over $100 million in his entire career as a general manager.
He's going to have to do it again soon.
Oh, he is.
When Bellinger comes and Bueller.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at the guys that he has actually signed to deals, Evan Longoria got $100 million for 6 years. Kershaw got 3 years at 93, and Kenley Jansen 5 at 80. So this Betts makes more than all of them combined off this deal.
He just doesn't like triple-digit contracts, but you had to offer that to one of the best players in baseball, if not the best.
Well, yeah, and I think for Dodger fans, you were waiting for that because you're not running the Tampa Bay Devil Rays or Tampa Bay Rays anymore. Okay, you're in LA. You have a 25, you get 25 million or 250 million a year off your TV deal that only a third of the market sees.
You don't even have, at the time, you didn't even have the best player in LA, and you were the best team in LA and the bigger team in LA.
Exactly.
Imagine if the Dodgers had Mike Trout. Oh, wow.
So when I was on the Beast 980, the Dodgers actually had a deal for Trout in place that the Angels backed out of at the last minute. And it involved Yasiel Puig. And this was coming off Puig's rookie year around that time and a couple other prospects. The Dodgers had a deal for him. And Artie Moreno, as he normally does with big deals, backs out. Big trades, I should say. But that's a whole nother story for something else. Yeah. So, but I do think it does take pressure off of Bellinger in a way. And I say that because if Bellinger's hitting in front of Betts, which isn't going to happen, it takes pressure off because he's going to see a ton of fastballs.
What do you say 1 through 3?
Betts. I would go Betts, Bellinger, Turner. You're going right, left, right, and then you could put Seager 4 or Muncy 4, and then you put. I'm a big proponent of right, left, going, switching up the batting order that way because it makes it tougher for situational pitching.
Well, I agree with you 100% on the Betts in front of Bellinger thing because that just makes it really hard. And then Turner behind them, that makes it really hard to pitch. You're not pitching around any of those guys. Exactly.
But they've been toying with Seager in the 2-hole. Betts, Seager, Turner, Bellinger. That's the so you're still going right, left. But I think Roberts is going to Doc is going to do some things to change it up. But I would go Betts because you look at most of the teams in baseball now. Your best hitters hitting in the 2-hole, or if not leading off. I mean, Lindor's in the 2-hole, Judge is in the 2-hole, or even though I'd have Glaber in the 2-hole over Judge, but that's a whole nother subject. But I would have Bellinger in the 2-hole behind Betts and in front of Turner. I think that would help everybody out, especially now that Bellinger is able to go the opposite way, and he's going to, trying to do that more. So,
and that changes his game so much, being able to hit the ball the other opposite way.
People don't realize how fast he is.
Oh, he flies.
Yeah.
He's hard to, when he's running down getting down to first, he's hard to get out.
I like his game. Like he, as much as I just, rip Jock Peterson for being that guy that just dogs it, like Bellinger's the opposite. He's busting his ass down the line, and you're watching him like, hell yeah. Like, I like that. And that's Mookie's the same way. I mean, look at, and I think Andrew Friedman talked about it today in the press conference. He said, in a meaningless game for the Red Sox, 162 last year, he scores from first base, I think, to win the game on like a single in the gap or a double in the gap. Like, it's what baseball's about. And Mookie Betts just personifies that. So,
and there's guys like Brandon Nimmo for the Mets. One of my favorite dudes. He gets hit by the pitch and he sprints down to first base.
Oh, no, I would walk.
If that's not Charlie, that is Charlie Hustle right there for 100%. But he is always going to have a contract in baseball because some GM is going to see that no matter what and go, this guy's going to put the effort in, the battle come back around. And not that he's not a bad bat, but if he has a slump.
Absolutely. So now the last bit of Mookie talk that we have that we have for right now. He said today in the press conference, quote, "I'm here to win some rings and bring some rings back to LA," end quote. That's plural. Now, 1988, I remember that World Series. I was 11 years old, in Upland, California, in Mountain Springs Apartments on the corner of Grove and Arrow Highway. And I'm watching the game 1 of the World Series with my best friend at the time, Cheeto Jara. We're watching the game. Cheeto was our shortstop, best youth shortstop I've ever seen in my life, by the way. And we're watching it, and Eckersley comes in, and Mike Davis works the count, gets on base, and then here comes Kirk Gibson limping up.
The famous pump.
Now, I'm not watching the Joe Buck broadcast. I'm listening to Vin Scully, damn it.
There you go.
Vin Scully. All right, the greatest of all time. No offense to Mel Allen, anybody else. It's Vin freaking Scully.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
And he hits it. And the thing I remember, not just the fist pump where he's hobbling around the bases, it's the damn car in right field who brake lights light up. And that person has to be, to this day, they have to be the dumbest person in Dodger Stadium history to leave game 1 of the World Series. And your car is forever the brake light saying, and you could just see, I bet you as a guy and his wife was next to him. And she's like, they're going to lose. Let's just go. This is ridiculous.
Beat the traffic.
We got to beat the traffic home. We got to go all the way to El Segundo. We got to get back to the valley. Let's go, Frank. And he's driving and he's listening to Vin Scully on the radio. And he's like, you dumb broad, you. Look what you made me miss. We missed the effing game. I could totally see that being the car scene in that car. But I've been, as a Dodger fan, I have been through too many World Series with them and playoff games where they shit the bed. The St. Louis Cardinals series. I've
always had a love for the Dodgers. That was my grandfather's team. And I understand exactly what you're talking about, watching them my whole life and just seeing them continuously getting so close. And the guy from one of those car insurance commercials pulling the reel back. You almost got it. And I mean, the Astro one thing hurts me as well. So I know the pain with the Astros. because
they screwed the Yankees. The home team won every game in that series
and took Judge's rookie. He would have been rookie of the year, the home run champ, rookie home run record, and would have won an MVP if the very small gentleman that's as tall as his bat didn't, know every pitch that was coming. The only thing that's good, though, is this year they can't do that. One, they're taking the replay thing away. And two, you're really going to hear a trash can if you start smashing that thing with a bat in the dugout. I mean, it's going to be very prevalent throughout the whole stadium. I mean, I'm just surprised the Astros don't sit there and they're just not screaming across the field, slider, change.
Well, here's the thing. They're the ones that make out the best for this because they don't have the fans booing them on every single road trip.
Nobody made up better than them.
Nope. But that's going to carry on until next year when it's regular baseball again. I
just really hope Aroldis Chapman, if they're in a game and they're not going to win, they're down 3 runs against them, but it's not looking good. They just put Chapman in, and Chapman drills dude with the fastest pitch ever thrown. That would just make my day. Well, just hits him and just walks right off the mound like, yeah, take me out of the game. See, I think the ump might be like, no, get back in there. You got another one.
You got another 4. Bregman, get up here.
The Royals pitcher hit 3 of them the other day.
Yep.
And I thought he played it off great. He's all pretending like he didn't hit him. He's leaning like, down like, oh, what would happen? I'm going to throw that pitch right at you again, though.
We're both former pitchers. And I mastered the art of hitting somebody and like saying, fuck, my bad. Not
throw
really,
your glove in the air.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you good?
You good? Yeah, you good? And it's at the same time. You good now? You good?
Yeah, okay, good. But I also was that guy where I'll make the story very fast. I was playing adult league baseball, 28 and over league, with guys that were playing. They could ball. Okay, it was in my first game on this team. They drill our second baseman, and I've come in they put me in relief from playing center field. I was in center field. They put me in relief in the 4th inning. We're up like 5-3. So the first 2 batters, I literally got 6 pitches, 3 swings, and there was 2 Ks. So number 3 hitter comes up, and literally after my second pitch, the ball was in the catcher's glove. You heard the pop, and he started his swing. Like it was one of those. I was kind of like, oh yeah. The next pitch, I drill him right in his ribs. I mean, you hear the thud, and you hear the air go out of him. As a pitcher, you hear it, and it makes me giggle to this day because
I know the feeling.
It's like, I got you bastard.
You good?
I didn't say you good. He said something to me, and I said, take your ass to first base. I'm gonna pick you off right now anyway. Catcher throws me the ball, and I look at my second baseman, and he's like kind of looking at me like, and I give him the wink, and he was like, oh, because he tells me afterwards like he's got him down 0-2. He didn't. He did. Oh, I picked the guy off. Literally, I'm giving my best move, catch him lean in. And as I'm walking off, I go, tell your pitcher you drill somebody else again, I'm throwing at your head. Like I got it. I had no doubt. And I went right into the dugout, sat there. For the next 3 years, me playing on that team, before I broke my humerus pitching, none of my players got thrown at in the entire league ever again. Set the tone.
You got to put your foot down. Yeah, you got to let them know. You hit one of mine, I'm going to hit one of yours.
So I have no problem with the retribution the Astros are going to get for the next year and a half.
No, I don't know if you ever watched Futurama, but the one where Leela pitches and they call her Bean because she's just hitting everybody in the head. I really hope that's what it's like. And I think there are a lot of pitchers that are down for it, especially my man Trevor Bauer, who I love Trevor Bauer.
Dude, his troll game is epic. It's the best in Major League
And I want to
Baseball.
put this on air. He is arguably, for all the people that think he's a dick, he kind of is, but most pitchers are.
He went to UCLA. He went to UCLA. That's what happens.
He's one of the most intelligent pitchers in baseball. Well,
Absolutely.
That man knows and what he's on the cutting edge of are stuff that other teams are thinking about doing. wishing
He
they could do.
he could have a big year. It's a contract year for him, and
I
he's
think
on
he
a
will
team.
have a big year.
And I wanted to talk about somebody in the Royals, but you brought up Bauer in the Reds. I think the Reds. I think it's the NL Central is the Brewers' division to lose. Like I think the Brewers are phenomenally built, and Yelich. I love the fact that Yelich is staying there long term. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And them
What
having
about the
DH.
Reds pitching?
Well, I'm going to say the Reds, though, are that team that this is a sprint, not a marathon. They're that team. I think that Reds pitching staff is so damn good. They literally could win that division and make a good run in the playoffs. And that's going to be led by Trevor Bauer.
Because Sonny Gray, when he left Oakland and went to New York, looked horrific. I actually went. Unfortunately, the six games in 2 years that I went to, 2 of those 6 games were Sonny Gray pitching.
Man, was it like 50 Shades of Gray?
He lost, exactly. He lost both of those games horrendously. They weren't fun.
All S&M.
What I'm getting, exactly. Brutal. They should have just taken the bat and hit him right on the mound with it, because that's about how bad it was.
There was no safe word.
No, absolutely. Cucumber. But no, the biggest problem with Sonny Gray there was he was not a slider pitcher. He was a curveball pitcher.
Yeah.
Fastball power curve. And they want him to throw sliders. Made him look horrible. It wasn't until he left that he brought all this up. And then everybody's like, oh, he's just complaining because he couldn't handle it in New York. And then goes to Cincinnati and is phenomenal. Like, pretty sure made actually the All-Star team.
Yeah, I believe
was
so.
Unbelievable. So you take guys like Sonny Gray with all of his movement on his pitches, put him with Trevor Bauer, let those guys talk to each other. Castillo and some of the you're 100% right about the
closer. Iglesias is one of the best closers in all of baseball, and he's the Reds closer. That guy is lights out. I mean, he took over for Chapman, and they haven't skipped a beat.
No, and the bats on the Reds too are underrated as well.
Yeah,
I don't think they're as strong as the pitching staff is for that team, but they're underrated. And I think that might be their division.
I think it's them and the Brewers. I don't like the Cubs haven't done anything. Their biggest addition this year was David Ross as their skipper. I mean, that's the same team.
The Cubs just keep losing people. Where the Cubs are is where I felt like the Dodgers would have been in about 2 years if they didn't sign Betts and do something like that.
Well, and the Cubs have 4 guys coming up on contracts. Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, and another one of their big guys. I forget who it is.
They're only going to be able to do maybe 2 of those.
And it's going to be Rizzo and somebody. If I'm
Baez,
if I'm Baez, I'm gone. There's no way I'm staying there. Honestly, there's no way. Like, look, I'm going to tell you what Baez should do. Wait and see where his brother-in-law, Francisco Lindor, is going to end up, or go somewhere where you working with Lindor to go play with your brother-in-law, because he's married to his sister.
Yeah, but who do you put on third or second?
Okay, look,
because that's where one of those guys is going to have to
Lindor. Lindor is the best shortstop in baseball to me.
Yeah, he's by second. Yeah.
Yeah, he's another 5-tool player. Actually, we brought up tools. I think there's a 6-tool. And Derek Jeter had it. It's leadership.
Yes.
And I think Lindor has that. I think Betts has that. That's the 6-tool that they have.
It's that excitement, that happiness, that locker room presence. I mean, Lindor's smile, you could put him on any team, they're going to win 10 more games.
Exactly. And that's why when they're talking about him being traded to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers in Cleveland match up real well for a trade package. Catcher needed, shortstop Seager can go there, an outfielder. That would make a lot of sense. And plus, the Dodgers only have 3 or 4 guys on their books after not this season, but next season. So
they do that. They do that. That solidifies them as the best team in baseball,
without a doubt. But Baez could be a guy the Dodgers could. You put Baez at second and Lindor at short, with Bellinger in center field and Mookie in right. Up the middle, good luck. Good luck
All right.
up the middle defensively.
Now I want to know your batting order.
Okay. Oh, that's easy. It'll go Mookie, Lindor, Baez, Bellinger. So I'm going right, switch, right, left.
I turn you the pitcher. You're just like, load him up 4 times. It's cool. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm not even doing this today.
We'll give you the one run. Just go ahead.
We'll just go against the bottom half of the order. It'll be fine. That's how I feel pitchers must think about the Yankees, though, because you look at that team and it's
God.
DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, Aaron Hicks. Then you're down into Brett Gardner, and it's most of that team was an all-star lineup right there.
Dude, Andujar was an all-star, and he missed all of last year.
And Urshela and they have too many riches where I wouldn't be against them getting rid of Urshela or Andujar with Frazier for a guy like Lindor, because
that's another one that would. But see, with that, I think they really are stuck on Gleyber playing shortstop for them long term. I mean, look,
that was his original position, and that's why they let Didi walk, because New York loved Didi. There is no way you come into Yankee Stadium after Derek Jeter
and not skip a beat.
And they love him. I mean, everybody I know, even one of my roommate, he is a recently Yankees fan, new baseball fan. He's a diehard football fan, but I got him into it, and his favorite player was Didi. Just watching games. I never talked about Didi, nothing. Just watching games. When
the Yankees traded for Didi, when he came over from Cincinnati, I was completely like, all glove, no stick. That was my thought. But I was like, you know what? They have some young guys. Then they traded for Gleyber, and I was like, okay, this is the young guy. Didi's there 2 years. And then all of a sudden, Didi starts hitting, and that short porch looks mighty good. And you start seeing all the little things that he does. And as a ball player, I'm like, oh, yeah. And he came into a no-win situation and won. Albeit they didn't win a World Series with him. But he was the perfect person to ease the transition from my favorite player, not ever, but he's in the top 2 or 3 to where they're at now with Gleyber coming in, with Gleyber taking over. And I'm a huge Gleyber guy. Like that out of all the Yankees, him and Jason Dominguez. I'm a big Dominguez guy.
I was just watching videos of him today. He is a monster. He put on so much muscle. Yeah, Gleyber is my guy.
Yeah,
I actually have right here, I have a game-used ball from Gleyber Torres' rookie season, his very first game against the Red Sox.
Nice.
And Chris Sale was pitching. It was against Severino, and the Yankees won that game. But I have that ball here. And because first time I saw him, I got to see him hit a home run his rookie season live in person, all that stuff. He was just one of the most electric guys. And the best part about him was coming up was the same thing like Didi. Everybody said he had no bat. What was the thing they said about Gio Urshela? All defense, had no bat.
Yep.
So I think you got to give kudos to the Yankees hitting coaches, because they're turning guys that were all defensive guys into, I mean, what did Gleyber hit, like 20 home runs against the Orioles last year?
Yeah, he had some
like 19 home runs against them.
Okay, but in all fairness,
it's the Orioles. I know.
There's AAA teams or AA teams that are better than the Orioles. Okay, I mean,
the Yankees AAA team that we ran through this season with last year was better than the
Orioles. Speaking of minor leaguers, I want to give the Royals credit for something. Okay, we talked about the Royals briefly about how much they're throwing at the Astros, but the Royals drafted a kid in 2018 with the 18th overall pick, Brady Singer. He's the one that paid for his parents' house, paid off all their bills with his signing bonus. Well, Mike Matheny announced on Wednesday that Brady Singer is going to start the club's second regular season game Saturday against the Indians. He's their number 3 rated overall prospect. And in an era where Chris Bryant and the Cubs were haggling over service time, and guys purposely wait till after April or May, normally like the end of April, beginning of May, or whatever it is for service time, so the club can get the extra year. The Royals are saying, "Nah, damn that, we're going to go for it." and we're gonna bring our guy up, and we're gonna let him rock. He had a 3.37 ERA in Double-A last year. The kid can pitch, and he's got superstar written all over him. I want to give the Royals credit for that, because far too many times we see guys in organizations and general managers and really owners just say, "Ah, damn it, let's just wait till May. We'll throw out the old guy and let him get hammered and let have the bullpen, have a long day, so the starter our ace got to throw 7+ tomorrow because this guy sucks ass, and because we want to save a couple bucks in the long run."
But there's too many teams that do that. They're too conservative. You look at guys like Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, CC Sabathia, all guys that were brought into the league very young. They didn't spend 6 years, 5 years, 4 years down in the minors to develop. And here's the other thing that's crazy to me is sometimes you have to put these guys in these big game situations because the nerve of getting to the big game versus playing in it, I think, is a different story. Because once you're there and you're actually playing, you're like, all right, I'm here. There's no more the It's, jumping out of a plane with a parachute. Yeah, you're freaking out until you leap. And then when that thing pulls and you're just coasting down to the ground, you're like, all right, that's pretty cool. But it's all the anticipation. And I think that's got a lot to do with that too.
I do. I agree. So with the game starting, let's talk about the AL East. We talked a lot about the Yankees. I think we both agree the Orioles are the worst organization in baseball right now. I think we both agree that we really expect them to finish dead last in the AL East.
Absolutely.
I don't know if they win 15 games out of the 60. I think they're that bad.
I would say between right there, 13 to 15. I think that's all they're getting. Because Tampa Bay is definitely the second best team in that division right now.
I would agree. And I think Toronto's a sleeper. I think the Red Sox are the fourth best team in that division. I think age and salary caught up with them. You talked about teams that are gonna have to dump people, a lot like the Cubs. I think that's the Red Sox.
And Chris Sale forgot how to pitch after that contract.
Yeah, and then he has to have Tommy John. So I mean he's done. And then Rodriguez is going to miss. I believe he's going to miss his first start. He was supposed to be their opening day starter.
What do they have left? JD Martinez?
Yeah.
For big name, Betts is gone. Price is gone. Sale's down.
Bogarts, maybe.
Devers an up and comer.
I like Devers, but
I definitely think even the Blue Jays are better than them. And the Blue Jays, to me, are one of those teams that they're going to be battling up there with the Yankees in the next 3 or 4 years. Because Vladdy Jr. is an animal. Bo Bichette, same thing, animal.
What's this Bo Bichette stuff on social media now? Like they're making. I'm saying not making fun of his name, but they're really talking about his. Bo Bichette should be called something Bichette. Because he's this, and it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I don't understand it. It's all over social media. I
haven't seen it. The only thing I ever see is them joking around about Boba Fett.
Oh, jeez. But I would say to me, and I agree with you about the Orioles, but I think that's the Rays, because I look at Wander Franco, their young shortstop prospect, and he's a guy, that, when you talk about young shortstops in baseball, you have Torres. Lindor's past that. He's a vet now. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is the guy that I think Wander Franco plays a lot like. And he could take Adonis' spot as short this year for the Rays. This kid is, or maybe push him over to second base. This kid is that special.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen a bunch of stuff on him. He is phenomenal. And that goes back to the GMs and coaches and managers and everybody pulling the trigger on that and getting him up there. Because you might get him up there and he might really flourish like Torres did, like Tatis did. They got up there. They were good in AA, AAA, all that. They get up there and it's a whole different story.
I would agree. And I think the AL East is the Yankees division to lose.
100%.
I would like to see them add another arm. But they got the two young kids, Schmidt and Devi, down in they in AAA or AA now. I know they optioned them down to the minor league camp, and I think Schmidt could get called up to be that fifth starter. Should Montgomery falter?
I think getting Tanaka back, Montgomery being there, and if Montgomery falters, Schmidt will come up there. I think either way, Schmidt comes up this season, even if they're using him as a setup guy or middle reliever, long reliever, opener, whatever it may be. I think they're going to bring him up because there's too many times the Yankees go to these bullpen. I don't want to say bullpen games, but these where they run that one opener style game with the bullpen, and they go through a bunch of guys. This is a guy that could actually produce, and you're wondering if he can. Instead of putting these dudes you're signing from these other teams that are just, let's see what this guy can do, especially if he's going in a game we don't care about. And then if he flourishes, now you could keep pushing him a little more.
Just do what the Angels are doing with Ohtani and pitch him every Sunday.
And that's actually another thing. I think Ohtani going there, as much as I wanted to see him go to another team, just because to me the Angels are kind of boring. I'm happy for him that he's able to be able to hit and pitch, because I don't think a lot of other teams would have let him do that.
Well, Brandon McKay's doing that for the Rays. He'll be able to hit and pitch.
What about
he rolls his eyes at that one.
I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, there's a difference between a guy that can hit a ball 450 feet and throw 100 miles an hour. I mean, Ohtani's. Brandon
McKay's a legit. He's that type of guy. He's hitting wise. He was like that at Louisville, and then when they drafted him,
Michael Lorenzen, completely forgot about him.
Yeah, from the Reds.
About the Reds.
Yep.
He can ball.
Well, we're gonna get back to the NL Central in a minute, but I think it's the Yankees division, and I think it's Blue Jays and Rays could be up, playing for a wild card, but I think this year it's gonna be a long season for Boston and the Orioles. And as someone I like to say, the two best things that ever come out of Boston are New Edition and the show Cheers. That's it. I don't like anything Boston. Clam chowder, New Kids on the Block, overrated. They suck. Okay. The Reds, the Sox, I still love the 86 World Series. That's still one of my favorite World Series, just to see Calvin Schiraldi crying in the dugout. Okay. I love that. Love seeing it go through Buckner's leg, even though Buckner was a damn good ball player, and it sucks that it happened to him, but I still love seeing that. I still love the Celtics losing to the Lakers and countless NBA finals and Paul Pierce shitting on himself. Okay. Yeah. I love it. Okay. All the Patriot fans are now going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans because that bandwagon went down south, even though I respect the hell out of Belichick. And Kraft knows where to go get good massages. So, I mean, whatever. So,
why do you think Tom went to Tampa?
Kraft told him,
"Hey, it's a good massage Florida.
Party." Yeah, it sure was. See, So you think like me?
Exactly.
Let's go to the AL Central, where we talked about the Indians a little bit, and we touched on the Royals, but really we haven't gotten into that division. When you look at that division, I think the Twins are a sneaky good team. I think this may be the most competitive division in the American League. The White Sox are just doing a hell of a job with their young talent. Luis Robert is a freak. If you don't have him on a fantasy team and he's available, go snatch him up. He is a monster. The Tigers are probably the worst team in that division. They're in a complete rebuild. And then you have the Royals, who they always just find a way. They're like that ex-girlfriend that comes around that you just can't shake, that every once in a while you just bang because you need to get one off, but she's cool and she's with it. Like that's the Royals right now. So, I mean, the end of the day, yeah, like that
they're
division,
just there.
Yeah, they're just there.
They just always show up
like at the right time too. It's like, hey, come on in and get this win real quick. And then like get out, but at the end of the day, I really like the Twins in that division for some reason. But the Indians, I like the Twins. I think the White Sox are going to be really competitive and will compete for that division. But the Indians are going into a rebuild. If they trade Lindor, which I think they will at some point, and maybe after the season,
that's the Twins division. I mean, they got the home run record last year. They can hit. They've got some pitchers. It's just putting it all together. And it's one of those, they're not that flashy team, like the Dodgers, the Astros, or whatever, with all these big, flashy names. They're not that team, but they play really good baseball.
And they all came up together for the most part.
Yes. A lot of them are right around the same age.
I mean, they went and got Maeda, and I think Rich Hill went there as well. If he can stay healthy, he could really do some things for them. Byron Buxton, he had it, and I know he got injured last week. I don't know how bad it was. But he's got to put it together. He's a guy that is a 5-tool guy, potentially, but he hasn't put it together yet. Sano, when he's in shape, is a monster. They have what they've done there is they put together they drafted smart and they built it the right way, like they did in the 80s when Tom Kelly was there, and they won the 87 and the 91 World Series. So I really like them, but I think the White Sox and Twins are the two teams to beat in that division.
Absolutely. The other three teams are basically in rebuild. And like you said, Kansas City will find its way close to the dance, but I don't know if it's going to get in. I really feel, like you said, it's going to be down to the White Sox and Twins, but I'm taking the Twins out of the two.
I am too, because I like their pitching. I think they got a better staff. And pitching wins ball games. The AL West, the Astros, it should be their division to win. But, I mean, I don't know if Oscar the Grouch is going to be able to come out and play for him this year.
They took his can away. It's gone now. No more trash cans. Do you think the Angels could give the Astros a run? Do you think they're all of a sudden maybe they could just turn it on and be relevant?
I don't think they have the pitching. Like who was the Angels' number one starter?
It might be Ohtani.
He's only pitching on Sundays. Like, I'm dead serious. When I say that, that's the plan that Joe Madden has, is Ohtani's only going to pitch on Sundays. He'll get either 5 days or 6 days rest, and then he'll DH the rest of the time, which that means Albert Pujols is going to be playing first base at 40 or almost 40 years old. Like, there's a problem there. So
yeah, they don't have the pitching staff to compete. The A's, I think, will find their way back over there. They've got a bunch of talent on that team.
I agree. The A's have a bunch of talent. I want to see how the Mariners play in their new their new stadium. Because the Rangers, what did I say? The A's? Mariners. Oh, Mariners. Damn. No, I was looking at the Mariners.
You got me for a second. I'm like, wow, they got rid of Safeco.
No. I was thinking of the, the hibachi that the Rangers just are opening up now. God, you would think that they would make a better looking stadium than that. You spend all that money for that.
Some of these stadiums in this country drive me crazy, where you have stadiums like Dallas that cost $1 billion, and then MetLife in New Jersey that also cost $1 billion. And those two stadiums it's like a Mercedes and then like an 80s Pinto. It's completely different.
So what's the 80s Pinto?
MetLife for sure. For sure. But that's all union money though. But it's one of those, you could have did something a little better. A little more architecture.
Like what they did in Las Vegas to Allegiant Stadium? I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is a spectacle. That is a beautiful stadium. The Death Star.
The Death Star. I love that stadium. I love the way that looks. And then you have oh God, at night. There's a picture that Mick Akers from the Las Vegas Review Journal put out that Coach Arroyo, UNLV's football coach, put on his IG and on his on the Twitter. And I'll text you it. It is one of the coolest pictures of that. All the lights are on the inside. It's almost like it was like a rave going on, but the lights on the outside were on. It looks really cool. I was like, God, I can't wait to cover games there.
I love that place.
But
I actually got to come out before I moved out here and see it while it was being built. That was pretty cool to see it being built and then come out here and finished.
Yeah, that's when every time I flew back into Vegas a couple weeks ago and we flew over it and I looked at it. I just was like, it's come a long way, baby. Because I've been there every step of the way. It's come a long. I was there when they broke ground at the Sony groundbreaking ceremony. I've been there when the first beams. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it all. And to see it where it's at now, where it's 99% complete, to be done in a week or two, that's phenomenal. It's great. But back to baseball, because people don't want to hear about football. They're tired of that already. The AOS, and then you have the Mariners, which again, they're in complete rebuild mode.
Absolutely.
I agree. I you know what? I think the A's are going to beat the Astros. I think the Astros have, and that sucks because I like Dusty Baker a lot. I just think he's in a no-win situation over there, and he's been thrown into something that he's got to basically pick up some other dog's crap.
Yeah, and we are still going off the Astros when they knew what pitches were coming. We don't actually know what their batting averages are going to be when they don't know what pitches are coming.
Exactly.
They might not be that good of a team.
We'll see. I mean, and how many got? What if like Bregman gets a rib broken by getting drilled by somebody? You know, and misses extended time, or Springer breaks a hand because someone throws and his hand is unprotected, or Correa Correa. And let's be real, if we're going to talk about the Astros, Carlos Correa. Tell me a guy whose career, former number 1 overall pick, the last couple of years, his numbers have not been good for a guy that's been, touted as the next Alex Rodriguez.
After that World Series, he just, plummeted.
Fastball.
Yeah, he plummeted. I don't understand it. I think it does. It goes back to that we don't know how extensive that really was with the cheating and what was going on with that and how good of hitters some of these guys are. Yeah, when they get on top of the ball, they could pummel it. But if I knew it was coming, I'm pretty sure I could hit it a decent way.
Yeah. So with the American League, who do you have as the MVP of the American League this year?
Wow. I feel like you always got to put Trout in that mix. He's in it every year. I don't feel like if he played for and I know that's crazy to say because it's LA, so it's not a small market.
No, it's not. It's Orange County. They're in Orange County. They're not in LA.
What I mean is, though, the big market team. So now you're taking, if you put him on the Dodgers or on the Yankees or on the Cubs or
the Mets,
Mets, I think he'd have a couple more MVPs than he does now.
Probably.
But actually, you know what? I might have a sleeper for you for the MVP. What about a super sleeper? Tim Anderson.
I was just thinking him. He was going to be the guy. I swear to God, he was going to be the guy, the best player you've never heard of, and is Tim Anderson. Like
I love him. I think he is that guy. I think he's the next. He's going to be that next Mookie Betts that play all over. He's really good,
and I love how his bat flip is the best.
Oh yeah,
how he just gets it and just throws it. It just starts like. I love it. See, here's the thing. I wish Major League Baseball would do this.
What? Let the kids play?
Bad News Bears too. Let them play.
Exactly.
No, what I wish they would go to more once fans come back to the Caribbean World Series vibe, where you have the crowd and they have the chants and the shakers and the banners and they have the chants and this. I love that. That is the coolest, man. I want to go down there just to watch that while that's going on, because that whole energy and that vibe has to be like through the roof if you're a ball player.
I feel like a lot of that, I know this is going to sound crazy, or maybe not. I feel like a lot of that comes where some places are like that. I mean, you get into Yankee Stadium or Citi Field during a big game or a playoff game, those places are raucous. But I feel like a lot of that is people are too busy sitting there on their phone, not really involved. They watch the ball get hit. Don't waste your time at the game.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot more people need to be a lot more involved because I remember going to games in the 90s in Yankee Stadium and in Shea Stadium, and those places would be nuts. Flags, people throwing beers, which is why I'm sure you can't have glass anymore. It's because it's them alone. I remember a guy with a Cincinnati's red flag walking around, and some dude threw it at him, threw a beer bottle at the poor guy. But it's
wow,
it's messed up.
But that was in Queens.
Yeah, but I don't feel like people bring that energy anymore. They don't bring that kind of energy to baseball games. It needs to be like a soccer game where it's like you're saying, it's just raucous. They have the horns and the whole nine.
But see, that's the problem. You got guys like Madison Bumgarner who shits on guys for hitting home runs. You don't watch the ball. Fool, throw a better pitch and strike me out. Bottom line, I own you this at bat. Shut up. God, I'm like, low key upset.
What did he say? Cam Newton said it the best. If you don't like it, stop me.
Exactly. Dude, I'm low key kind of upset that you took Tim Anderson. You stole Tim Anderson from me, bro.
I bet you never in a million years thought I was going to say that.
No, honestly, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to say Tim Anderson. And then you're like, I got a sleeper. I'm like, he's going to say Tim Anderson. And I'm like, oh, damn, he's going to say Tim Anderson. You know what?
See, I lived in Charlotte for a little bit, and we had the Charlotte Knights, which is the White Sox affiliate. And I got to watch a lot of those guys play and in the minors, and they are real good. And he was one of them.
I think for me, the AL, and I love Tim Anderson as a super sleeper MVP pick. I'll agree with you on that. And if I'm not going Trout, if I'm going the field, I'm gonna go Gleyber Torres.
See, I wanted to say him, but I didn't want to beat the Yankees.
You don't want to be the homer. Yeah. No, I mean, but look, like numbers is like everything aside, he's a guy in New York. If he has the type of year he had last year, maybe a little bit better, playing shortstop now, and they have the best record in the American League or in baseball, and he's the catalyst for that. He's gonna win an MVP. And
I think here's a hot take for you. I think he's gonna have the most home runs out of the whole group of all those sluggers.
More than Judge and Stanton. I mean, the thing, if Judge stays healthy, Judge is different. Judge actually, personality-wise, reminds me a lot of Jeter, just as his personality. 100%. But he just got to stay healthy, and I don't know if at 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", he's going to be able to do that.
I really feel the best thing they could do for Judge and Stanton is rotate the two guys back and forth, alternating days. Because Judge at 6'8", 280, 6'7", 280, running around the outfield and slamming on the ground, because that's what messed him up last year. It's a lot of mass to throw around. I think they switch the two of those guys around, keep them healthy as long as possible, eventually trade Stanton, move Judge to a permanent DH, because that's the only way you're going to keep him healthy.
I was going to say, I think when you said the two guys, I want to say trade Stanton, but
I'm not against that. I actually was thinking about it. I'm not against it, but it's going to be hard to trade that contract now.
I think it's going to be easier because it's going to be towards the end of the contract, so you can get out of it a little bit sooner, eat a little salary.
But he hasn't really performed. I think that's going to be the issue. Is people are going to go, he's been hurt, he hasn't performed.
Let's say he has 20 bombs in 60 games.
Oh, they could take him. You could still trade him. Bye. Bring Jason Dominguez up. Come on.
All right, let's move to the NL East, where the world champion Nationals, they're still there, and they probably going to be the odds-on favorites. Even though I really like the Braves, and not even just the Braves, I think the Phillies have a legitimate chance with Girardi there to really do some things if their pitching holds up. I think that division is going to be way more competitive than what people think.
I think every team in that division, except the Miami Marlins, have a chance. Every single team.
I would agree. I think the Mets are a little.
They're the
Mets
lowest of the four of those teams for sure. But the Mets have a chance because it's always the pitching. If Familia and Edwin Diaz do what they did 2 years ago, and
that back end is sick.
DeGrom and Syndergaard do what they've been doing, and the bats come alive, that's a very hard team to beat.
And Matz is low key one of the better pitchers in the National League. I mean, he doesn't throw hard, but he just wins. He spots his ball real well. I think he'll struggle in postseason because in postseason, I believe in power arms. Power arms win in postseason.
And here's another one. If you look back the last few years, the Mets always do great in the beginning of the season and then start to taper off. This is a sprint. They might have more of a shot this year than they've had in a while.
I would agree, but I think the Braves, even though the Braves pitching, their back end of their staff, trouble. Cole Hamels, that's not a good sign for him missing early in the year. And they went and are they going to sign Shashin? I believe I heard they're going to sign Shashin, who just got released. You know, and he's a guy that if you're going to rely on him, that's trouble.
And that's the thing between the Braves and the Mets is the Mets absolutely have the pitching advantage and the Braves 100% of the batting advantage. So
that's true.
Normally the pitching wins, but the only problem with the Mets is their bats don't ever score many runs, so the pitchers can't win.
Well, yeah, and the Mets defense isn't always great, where I think the Braves play really, really good defense. I mean, up the middle, they're phenomenal up the middle. And then you have the Phillies, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Hoskins, like that team.
Gene Segura.
Yeah. I mean, Segura, tell me if he didn't resurrect his career there.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
McCutchen.
And he's back. I mean, he's no longer hurt.
Yep.
His baseball card is the best one this year, though, too. Have you seen it?
No.
Google McCutchen's 2020 tops. I think it's the tops card. It's like Uncle Clutch. It's got him. He's got some shades on. His hat's kind of tilted.
Is it the one in the dugout, the shirt open?
Yeah.
He's got the cup of Gatorade.
Yep. I know what
you're talking about. Yep.
Great. Oh, that's the best, bro.
I know the exact picture you're talking about. He's like dancing in the dugout, walking up.
Yeah, that's the best.
Exactly.
You know what? I want to talk about the Marlins for a second. And I know people give Jeters, they kind of give him some shit about what he's doing down there. He's rebuilding that team. That team was in the red with Stanton.
Nobody understands the rebuilding, though.
Right. But Donnie Baseball's down there, and Don should never have gotten fired or mutually was asked to leave by the Dodgers. Okay. I fundamentally have a problem with people, general managers, team presidents, telling a manager what to do situational wise during a game. Don't call me in the dugout and tell me who to hit or who to put in from the pen. Okay, I have advanced scouting and stats and a pitching coach and a bench coach to help me with that.
Yeah, and the best companies in the world are also ran where they put people in places that they trust to do their job, no matter what they think. They trust that person to do their job.
They empower them to do their job.
Exactly.
And Donnie didn't get that with the Dodgers. Now, Doc has done a good job with them as far as bringing them together. But in Miami, Donnie's in a no-win situation because they're not going to win ball games. But he's a damn good manager.
Oh, absolutely. I think the pitching messes with him more than anything. And I don't mean mess with him like people. I don't think it's him messing with when he's calling guys in. I mean, more of the pitching failing him sometimes in some of the most important times. Yeah, it's not really the bats failing.
But I look at what the Marlins have coming up through that farm system. And they got some dudes. They're like a year. They could be like the Cleveland Indians of the 90s when they had Baerga, Bell, Lofton, Tommy, Ramirez, Sandy Alomar. Like, that's the type of guys they have coming up. Jazz Chisholm, Harrelson, I think Beatty's the other kid's name. Like, they have some young guys coming up and some young pitchers. And don't forget, losing tragically Alex Fernandez when they did. I mean, he was arguably the best pitcher in baseball before he died. I mean, he was up in the top 2 or 3 guys in the league. The Marlins are not in a they're a couple years away from being that team where you're like, damn, they're going to be good for a really, really long time.
Oh yeah, they have a phenomenal farm system, and that's the thing people don't realize. You traded away an MVP. You traded away another guy that won an MVP when he went somewhere else. D. Gordon, Marcelo Zuna, JT Realmuto. Yeah, these are a lot of really good players, but they got a ton of stuff back for all that. So yeah, you're not going to be good the next 2 years, but year 3, year 4, I mean, that's going to be it's kind of what I think that is the new formula in baseball, where the old formula was try and buy your players or try and, build the team, but plug these 3 or 4 huge guys in there and all that. And now you're seeing it where they only need 1 or 2 guys that they got to plug in there, like the Dodgers, like the Yankees. They have to go out and go after a ton of people. They only have to go out and go after a couple of guys.
Right.
And still have a stacked farm system and a young core that when these older guys do leave, you're still competitive. It's not that, oh, we got this old team, we got to blow it up and start all over. That's what they had to do in Miami. But they're going to be stacked moving forward.
Absolutely. And I like what they're doing. I hope they get – I know Donnie signed an extension. They got to let him see his way through this team. And I'm glad they didn't sign Puig.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Puig. I do. I've been a big Puig proponent since he's came up. But that's not the type of team he needs to be on. He needs to go somewhere where he can compete right away. This team needs to come up together, learn together, and then you bring in some old school. Bring in a guy like McCutchen to come in and show them this is how you be. This is how you're a pro. This is how you do it. So the Marlins aren't going to be any good. I think they finished last in that division. I think the Mets are right in front of them, and then I think you have the Phillies, Nationals, who I think will be battling for a wild card spot. And then I think the Braves actually win that division.
I agree. Because the other thing that nobody's talking about too is Nationals lost a big guy. I mean, losing Rendon, that was not easy.
No, not at all.
So that was one of their best bats. So you got to think about that moving forward. Of are they still not that they were a favorite last year, but are they still a favorite? They look at the trade deadline last year; they were horrific.
Well, and they also lost Rendon's defense, which is he's one of the better defensive third, if not the best defensive third baseman in baseball. Him and Nolan Arenado. And the other thing that you have to think about too, that's going to be hanging over their head in that division is why isn't Mike Rizzo re-signed to a new deal? They won a World Series under his stewardship. He built that team. Why he's a lame duck general manager. And let's say the Angels let Billy Epler go. Let's say you have the Orioles who you're just like, you know what, we're gonna clean house. They're gonna pay Mike Rizzo a good amount of money, and he's gonna go somewhere, and then you can have a rebuild or a semi rebuild in Washington. I mean, you can't do that. Al Lerner can't do that as an owner. You have to lock him in, and they haven't done that yet.
No, they need to lock him in and let him keep working, because when you got to worry about if you're going to have a job next year, that doesn't make your job this year very easy.
Exactly. They wouldn't do that with a manager, and they shouldn't do that with him. The National League Central, we touched on that division a little bit. I think it's the Brewers division, but I think we both agree that the Reds are a team for people to keep an eye on. They do a great job with that team, what they could bring to the table. I just think the Brewers are well-rounded, and you can't sleep on the Cardinals. They're just as an organization, they're just a baseball organization. I've never been a big Cardinal guy.
No, but they're always in the dance.
Yeah, they're always close. Always right in the middle of things.
But yeah, I don't think the Cubs I think it's going to be that the NL Central is going to go Brewers, Reds, Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates.
I would agree, except I'd flip the Cubs and the Cardinals. And the Pirates are, they're just young. They're just young.
Very young team.
But again, the Reds are a team that
I think they're going to be that surprise team. Like the Nationals were that surprise team last year. The Reds are going to be that surprise team. They're going to show up and they're going to make a lot of people look silly, especially with, like I said, that pitching staff. I think is very impressive, very underrated.
One of the things that I really love about the NL Central is the Milwaukee Brewers changed their uniforms. And it literally is a cream-colored uniform with Brewers on it. It's just classic looking. But they went to the hat that looks like a baseball glove that has MB in there.
Yep.
I love what the Brewers did with don't change your uniforms again.
No, they got to leave them. They got to leave them. They're great. They are great.
I hated the uniforms with the wheat on there and what they've had the last couple of years. Oh, God, those are some shitty uniforms.
Oh, I didn't like those either at all. These new ones are way better. And the MB and the hats did they make it?
That logo from the 80s, Harvey Wallbangers Brewers, which lost to the Cardinals in the 81 World Series, or 81 or 82. That was one of the that hat is iconic to me. It's one of those. It's not Yankees. It's not Dodgers. It's not Red Sox. It's but that's a hat that I'm like, yeah, like I'm gonna end up going and buying one just because I just like how it looks. But
I like them a lot. I won't lie to you. I had a bunch of LA hats growing up. I just love the LA logo. Same with the Giants. I like the Giants logo. I know you're not really a big fan.
Nah.
But no, the Milwaukee Brewers, who was the other team? The Padres, which we
went back to the Brown, yeah.
About to get into they went back to the Brown, which I think looks pretty cool. I don't like it on the helmet though. It looks like crap on the helmet. Like literally, it actually looks like crap.
Well, they do have Manny Machado, so I mean.
So they just got to hear a lot of crap while they're playing.
Oh God! So I'm not getting into that. We'll get into the Padres. Let's get into the NL West. I think this is the Dodgers' division to lose. That's not being a homer. That's just looking at that team top to bottom. But then 100%. you have the Rockies, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. I think out of that whole division, the Giants are probably the worst team in that division.
Yeah, I'd say the Padres, I think, might be that surprise team too. I think they might be better than the Rockies.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Because you probably have the best defensive left side of the infield in baseball right there with Tatis and Machado. That's arguable, but hard to argue that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of another team that has a better defensive left side.
There's not really.
Yeah, I mean, Tatis is just different. His game is just different. Machado, he's Machado, and you know what you get with Manny.
Not Charlie Hustle.
You know what though? He's not gonna. Yeah, he Larry Lazy, but he
never regretted saying those words more in an interview than I think anything he ever said.
God, yeah,
deal with that Charlie Hustle thing forever.
Well, I think the other thing that he said when he was, I don't know if that's what I was going to talk about last year. Did you see the Twitter video or the video of the guy at Dodger Stadium? He's sitting field level, right next to the Padres dugout. Machado goes on deck. He's like, Manny, you should have stayed. Manny, you should have stayed. You're never gonna win a ring in San Diego. You should have stayed in LA. We loved you. He goes, nah, they didn't have enough money. And he goes, you should have stayed, bro. He goes, we'll win a ring before they do. I got $300 million that says so.
Oh wow.
I would have taken that bet right there. Like, let's go. Sign this shit right now. Come on camera right now and say, let's do a verbal agreement, bro.
300 million.
300 million. I'll get your check the next whatever you get paid. Like, let's do it.
You can get my check.
You get my check. Have fun with that. Shit.
He can't even put gas in his private plane now.
He can't, dude. He could have put gas in his car. What are you talking about? Good luck eating off food stamps, motherfucker. But oh god, but you know what? Like the Padres. This is the Padres to me, and this may be the Dodgers. The Padres are like the Clippers in the NBA to the Lakers. They're little brother. They want to be big brother so bad. They changed their colors to almost be the Dodger colors up until this year. Then they go back to their
blue and white.
Yep. Then they go to the brown and yellow. And then look how many former Dodgers they went and signed or traded for. Matt Kemp, Manny Machado. I mean, hell, Glenn Hoffman, is he still coaching third base? He's a former Dodger manager, for Christ's sake. I mean, they and in the history, Steve Garvey, Mike Scioscia. Like, they went and they get former Dodgers because they want to try to live off of them. Like, this isn't, what was that? What was the show on Fox? And I really liked it. It was a pitch with the woman pitcher and Mark and Zach Morris, Mark Paul Gosselaar or whatever his name is, as the catcher, and it lasted one season. I was on Fox.
I don't know if I saw it.
Oh, dude, it was actually a really cool series. But this isn't a pitch where you're trying. We're only 8 games out with 30 to go. We can catch them. Nah, at the end of the day, the Padres, and they got a cool ass stadium. I just don't know if their ownership will allow them to be good. Some teams just have a dark cloud over their head. I mean, you had, in my opinion, the greatest hitter in my generation, in Tony Gwynn.
Oh, yeah.
And
he was.
Dude, TG was phenomenal.
I think the other thing is, though, a lot of these organizations sign the one big name when they're the smaller market or whatever you want to call it, does sign the one big name. And then they just back off and just let it ride on that one jersey sale that they're going to make and hope that these other guys in the farm system come up. But you don't see teams that aren't constantly aggressive, like the Dodgers, like the Yankees, like the Red Sox, like the Astros, Cardinals. The teams that are constantly aggressive will stay in the mix because, like anything else, business, you have to continue to adapt to the environment. Everybody looked at the A's all those years ago when they started the whole statistics thing, like they're crazy, it's stupid, it's not going to work. And what do they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Well, everybody's imitating them now. Everybody.
Yeah.
And that's common practice now. That was taboo to now. If you're not doing that, get out of here.
Well, it's funny you say that because my favorite line in any movie, one of them, came from Moneyball when Brad Pitt says, adapt or die.
Yeah.
Like that's life. That's real life. That's everyday life. So with the Padres, I go back to those teams when they had McGriff, Sheffield, who I see jerseys hanging behind you. Those teams, Steve Finley, I think Caminetti was on those teams, Kevin Brown. I mean, those are some dog teams. Roberto Alomar. I mean,
their one shot from a World Series. I think it was 98.
Yep. And Gwynn first at bat, upper tank at Yankee Stadium in a World Series. That gave me chills. That one gave me chills, just like, yeah. All right, Tony, like you let them have it. You just turned on that shit. But I just don't see them, I think the Padres finish above the Rockies. I think the Diamondbacks are a team that people are going to sleep on a little bit. I don't know why, even though the Dodgers just beat the brakes off of them to end the summer exhibition, right before they smacked the Angels on Tuesday
feel like
night.
The Diamondbacks have a lot of good names, but I don't know if it's all going to mesh well together. So you see this happen a lot where they have a bunch of good talent, and you're like, oh, this team's gonna be whatever, and they don't pan out.
Yeah,
I get that feeling from them. And Madison Bumgarner, let's be honest, he's not the leader type guy. He's not going to walk in there, and he's a great baseball player. He's actually from about 20 minutes north of where I used to live. Funny enough, they have a big billboard there for him. But he's not that leader type guy who's going to walk in there, I think, and grab that locker room. I don't think people have that kind of respect for him.
He's there for the money.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so glad certain teams didn't sign him, even though it would have been great to see Giants fans lose their shit over it.
You think he would have ever went to the Dodgers?
Oh, yeah. If they would have offered him the money, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's like saying if well, you can't say it because Cone and Jeter both play for the Mets and the Yankees. Or not Cone and Dwight Gooden, not Jeter. And Darryl Strawberry. I mean, they play for, Todd
Gary
Frazier. Sheffield. I mean, yes. I mean, it comes down to money, you know.
You need that Bobby Bonilla contract, though. Bro. His kids are going to be getting paid on that contract. Whoever was his agent at that time is the greatest agent in the history of sports. He's like, yo, I'm going to make you rich for the rest of your life.
Isn't it like June 30th or June 1st or something like that? It's some like
July 1st, Bobby Bonilla did.
July 1st. Every Bobby July Bonilla 1st, I'm a millionaire.
$1 million.
For the next, like...
Oh, I could blow $1 million a year.
It's like, baby, we'll pay the rent. Just wait till July 1st. We're good.
Pay all the bills on July 1st.
Yeah. You just call
great contract.
You call up the company. He's like, hey, look, I'm going to pay for the year July 1st. Baby, we're good for the year to save the money for Christmas now. Let's go. You know, like. So I think we agree the Dodgers win the NL West. All right, so NL MVP, who you got?
You know what? Now that he's over there, I might have to take Mookie. I mean, now that he's there.
The hell, dude? I can't say a damn name. I'm gonna start going first. Damn it!
He should.
Oh,
he should have went first. I mean,
geez.
It would be impressive to see him win it in both.
How many guys have? Like off the top of your head, have you?
I've heard the stat before watching a game, and it's not many. I think it's like 2.
Frank Robinson is one. I believe Frank Robinson is one. I think he won one with the Orioles and won one with the Reds.
Yeah, because I'm not 100% sure. Because I heard a stat about that and one about ERA and how many guys have won the Cy Young in both and all that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go with Betts. But I think Yelich is a guy to also keep an eye on. I mean, he puts up some crazy numbers. But I would say but I'm gonna go with Betts. I'm gonna be a homer. I don't care. Rich looked up
two awards. Robinson won the American League Triple Crown. Only 2 players, Carl Yastrzemski and Miguel Cabrera, have won since the award in either league.
So Yaz and Cabrera?
Miguel Cabrera, Carl Yastrzemski.
Huh. I could have sworn Frank Robinson won. Huh.
Well, yeah, okay. Saying he won the American League Triple Crown. I didn't say anything else about both sides.
Who do you got for the Cy Young in each league? Yeah, I want him to go first with this one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I am gonna be that guy this time. I'm gonna take Cole and the NL. I feel like it's such a toss-up between 2 guys, and it's so hard. But I'm gonna take Scherzer this time. I normally would have said DeGrom, but again, honestly, just because he's so damn dominant.
I'm gonna take DeGrom. in the NL. And in the AL, I don't want to say Garrett Cole, but I'm going to say Garrett Cole because he's going to have guys behind him, and they're going to put up ungodly numbers offensively for the 60 games, which leads me to, let's say you have a guy ends up with a 1.12 ERA starting pitcher, or hits 4.36 for a season. Is there an asterisk by those numbers, even though it would be considered a full season?
Okay, so I actually have a funny feeling about that. Not necessarily that, but the asterisk thing. So with the stats, yes, I feel like there's an asterisk there. Only because you're taking such a different body of work. 60 games versus 160 games, big difference. So there, yes, I feel like there's an asterisk. Where I actually changed my mind on something is the championship. Originally, I was like, this World Series doesn't count. Even if the Yankees did win it at 27.5, all this other stuff. Originally, when I first saw it, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, you know what? This is going to be one of the hardest championships to win because it's not going to be you got to play every single game. There's no, well, we're looking forward to Boston next week, or we're looking forward to San Francisco, or whoever. You have to play every game as it's your last, because when it comes down to the end of that 60 games, you can't get that one game back that you just were like, we're not really worried about this game. We got a harder team to play tomorrow. You can't do that. So this year is going to be one of the hardest years because it's not going to be everybody's got to get hot fast, and they got to stay hot.
Yeah.
None of this warming up.
That's real. They do. Teams have to hit the ground running. So who do you got World Series? You know, we're coming to the end, and who you got World Series as your participants?
I think you got to say the favorites, but I feel like this season is going to come down to health. So your Yankees and Dodgers are going to be in there, and which I think would be great for the game of baseball, personally, just because of the two historic teams in all their history. But I really do. I think it's going to come down to health this year, and I don't necessarily just mean with the pandemic. I mean injuries and all that other stuff. And the pandemic's going to play a part in this too. Here's actually something I heard the other day, which is a very interesting thought on that. What if a manager and the next couple of coaches all get sick? And you got to start picking player managers for teams. That's one of those where you really start thinking about who's the first guy or first two guys you'd want. Let's say that happened to the Dodgers. Who would be a guy you would be like, this guy's a dude that could...
Mookie Betts, one.
And then a pitcher. Because that's what a lot of these guys are talking about, is having a pitcher.
Kershaw. You know, I think you go with your two guys. Like, and if we think about the Yankees, hypothetically, who would it be?
Judge. And a pitcher, I'd have to say Tommy Kahnle or Zach Britton, maybe even Adam Ottavino. But it'd have to be one of the relievers, because none of the starters are those kinds of guys. Garrett Cole seems more like the guy that he wants to go out there and pump 100-mile-an-hour fastballs past you, win the game, and go home and get another, try and get a ring.
Yeah.
But
the other thing that we didn't even talk about is that the Blue Jays could be playing all their games they're going to be a road team all year, but they can't play in Toronto. They may be a roadie all year long in various cities.
Weren't they saying something about having them possibly have their home field in Tampa or Springwater or Clearwater? I mean,
maybe, but they want to play in a major league facility. And PNC they had an agreement with the Pirates and Major League Baseball because their schedules matched up perfectly. But the Department of Health for Pennsylvania said they can't do that. So now it could be Buffalo, where the Bison play, which my guy Jose Rivera would freaking love because he can go watch, ball every day down the street from where he lives.
Can they do it in our Aviators Stadium? I know they don't want to go that far.
Probably, but I mean, they'd want to stay. I think they want to stay on the East Coast. I could see it. Let's say the A's needed to do that. I mean, but then again, if you play in the Oakland Coliseum, you're probably immune to every disease ever because you drink the water there, you become Superman or some shit.
Grow a third arm. I mean, Charlotte.
A fourth in some cases.
Spider-Man. But like the Charlotte Knights Stadium, the dimensions of that stadium actually line up almost identical with Yankee Stadium. It's like 315, 408, and 315, something like that. But that's a nice stadium. That's a big stadium.
Yeah, but I think that's going to hurt Toronto. I heard that's going to hurt the Blue Jays long term. At least for this season.
Far away.
Yeah, because Canada's like, oh no, you don't come home to Canada.
A boot? Where are you playing?
Oh shit! All my Canadian friends are gonna give me so much shit over that one. Sorry,
snowmobiles up there. They like me.
My brother played for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I literally have friends that are literally, hey Joe, I'm like I don't understand how y'all spell words because you spell rumor with MRUMOUR. I'm like, wait, that doesn't look right to
Rumour.
Yeah. But I hear Montreal is really a really fun place to party. I don't know anything about that though.
I thought about moving to Canada. I like Canada. Canada's a really nice place. Very fun place to party, actually. Quebec.
We'll talk about that off air. Well, okay, so we both had the same teams in the World Series. I agree with you. It comes down to health.
What about a sleeper team for either one? What's the Nationals? Because the Nationals are one of the biggest sleeper teams to come in out of nowhere and then win the whole thing. That was pretty crazy.
I'm going to say Milwaukee. I think that DH helps them as much as any team in Major League Baseball because now they don't have a gluttony of outfielders. You don't have to move Yelich around to make sure Ryan Braun plays somewhere or gets his at-bats. He can DH. I think the Brewers are, if they can play solid defense, they have a lockdown closer in Hader. And I have a really good nickname for him, but it's not the appropriate way to say it on air.
My mind's racing. I can only imagine.
Yeah. The short time you know me, you kind of figure
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I think the Brewers are out of the NL are a sleeper team, and if I'm going out of the AL, God, I hate to say it because it's another team I just hate, but they are loaded. It's the White Sox. They have, even though the Kopech or whatever his name is isn't pitching this year for them, but that offense and Yohan Moncada is a stud.
Oh yeah.
You got the three Cuban players. I know Luis Roberts and Abreu, but I forget the other dude's name that came up last year and played. He's really, really good. He can stroke. Tim Anderson is, like we talked about, dark horse MVP caliber player. That team is loaded. And the White Sox could be a team that surprised a lot of people.
I think you're right. I think them and Cincinnati. I think two teams that we've talked about a bunch were those two teams that could really be like the Nationals were last year, really be that sleeper team that comes out of nowhere and surprises a lot of people. And I think that also is what makes this season so great, is because it's going to be about who's hot and who stays hot. And the hottest team is probably going to win this.
I'm interested to see a team that let's say they jump out early on. And they go in the first 30 games 25-5, 20-10, right? And then they kind of cruise the rest of the way and go 500. But they had a big enough lead where they kind of can go on cruise control. Let's say it's a team, let's say it's the Yankees, because they're not in the division that's going to be, I think they should walk away fairly easy with the AL East. I think they should win that division pretty handily.
Yeah, I think the Rays are the only team that actually gives them a problem.
I agree. I'm interested to see how the season plays out for a team that does that. That starts off hot and then ends up cooling down as the season goes on. And then let's see what happens in the playoffs. Because what I like about Garrett Cole more than anything going to the Yankees, and I said it earlier, power arms win in postseason. You can't nibble on corners. That's why Smoltz was the most effective postseason pitcher for the Braves versus Maddox and Glavine. That's why when they had Jason Schmidt, he was fairly productive in the postseason, power arm, which allowed them to move him and some other guys to make their team better. Power arms win in postseason.
You're 100% right about that, because you look at all your Max Scherzers, your Verlanders, you can even go to relievers with Aroldis Chapman and those kinds of guys where it really does. It makes a huge difference in the postseason. Those power arms win.
So who you got winning the World Series? I know who you're going to say. Just say it. Just say it.
Kill me. I'm gonna say the Yankees in 5.
In 5?
Mm-hmm. In 5.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah. You want to write this down?
No, we're gonna have this forever. What are you talking about?
I don't know if you want to put a sticky on your computer or something.
Oh my God. Nah. You know what? I'm gonna go Dodgers in 7. I think that the reason why I say in 7, I think baseball wants to have it, and it'll be great postseason. And the one thing, and this is gonna sound weird to say.
Oh, there's no greater word in all of sports than Game 7.
Exactly.
That is the greatest word in sports.
Exactly. But I think, and this is going to sound really selfish, the way 2020 has been for me, and TQ for that matter, I firmly believe that two teams that we root for, and I root for the Yankees just as hard as I do the Dodgers. Don't make no mistake about it. But the Lakers and the Dodgers are going to make our 2020 just a little bit better than what it has, because we've had a really effed up 2020. I mean, it's.
You think they're both taking the medal?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do. And I say 7 in the World Series, Dodgers over the Yankees, only because I want to see it go 7. I think 5 or a sweep is not giving the other team enough credit. I think 6 games is right. But
you know what? You're right, because my brain was not thinking 2020. I was thinking there was going to be, the Bronx Zoo was going to be up and rowdy, but it's probably not going to be up and rowdy. So yes, it probably will go 7. But up and rowdy in the Bronx Zoo, I don't know, man. 5 games. That place is hard to play in, man.
Rich is like, nah, 3 games is over with. The 3 games is done. There ain't no LeBron James moments here. Hell no, 3 games.
Ain't no one. You come back.
Fuck it, game 1, it's over. Winner take all. Let's go.
If you hit the ball completely out of the stadium and clear everything, the World Series is over.
one game, one pitch, one home run. It's over. Like, field it clean.
Hit here. Just the circle.
What they saying, Bull Durham? Man, he got a steak. He hit the bull. Like, man. But yeah, honestly, I do think I like Dodgers in 7, but I do think the Lakers win it too. So I think it's gonna make our 2020 just a little bit better. That'll be a little silver lining for it. But that's it for tonight. That's the show, and it's the first one. We're gonna have many more as the season goes on. One of these times we'll be joined by Josh, who covers baseball with us for Franchise Sports Media, and we got a lot of good stuff lined up for you this season. So crack open a cold one, whatever it is. If it's a adult beverage, adult pop, if it's a soda, if it's a water, iced tea, whatever you're drinking on, Shirley Temple. Throw a slab of meat on the grill, and we got some ball this season, so let's enjoy it. So, Rich, thank you, brother, for joining me tonight, and let's do it again next week.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it. And next time we'll be able to talk, we'll be able to see who's living up to our hype.
For real, we'll give a recap of the first weekend. Don't forget to check out Franchise Sports Media. Josh has This Week in Baseball, which is your weekly baseball notes. And for Dodger fans, look for Dodgers on Deck, which is your preview and recaps of the Dodgers series that they're playing in every single week. So with that being said, check out Rich's stuff coming on Franchise Sports Media in the next week's article rotation. Check out this week's 2 articles, This Week in Baseball, where Josh previews the Yankees and the Nationals and the Dodgers and the Giants, and this week's WWJD, where I talk about Mookie Betts and his new contract with the Dodgers, making him the highest paid player in baseball. This has been Franchise Sports Media's FSM The Show podcast on franchisesportsmedia.com. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.